Alex had always wanted a quiet place, far away from the noisy city. For many years, Alex worked hard, saving every penny, dreaming of a home where peace and nature would be the main things. After a long wait, Alex finally found the perfect place: a big house on top of a mountain, surrounded by tall trees and fresh, clean air. This mountain mansion was more than just a house. It was a dream come true. The house was beautiful. It had large windows that looked out over the valley below. The sun would rise every morning and paint the sky with bright colors, and Alex would watch it from the balcony, feeling calm and happy. The sound of birds singing and the cool breeze made everything feel just right. Alex imagined spending many years here with family and friends, making memories that would last forever. For Alex, this mountain home was a new beginning. The busy city life was full of noise and stress. Here, everything was slow and peaceful. Alex loved to walk in the woods nearby, listening to the leaves crunch underfoot and watching the squirrels play. Sometimes, Alex would sit quietly by the small lake not far from the house and think about life, feeling thankful for this calm place. The neighbors were friendly but quiet. They greeted Alex with smiles when they passed by. The community was small, and everyone seemed to care about keeping the neighborhood clean and safe. There was a small group called the Homeowners Association, or HOA, which helped manage the rules in the community. Alex knew the HOA was there to help keep the neighborhood nice, but it was never a big concern. At first, everything was perfect. The mountain mansion was everything Alex hoped for. On weekends, Alex invited family over. They sat by the fireplace, told stories, and ate good food. The house was full of laughter and love. Alex felt proud of the hard work it took to buy this home. One evening, as the sun began to set behind the mountains, Alex stood on the porch and took a deep breath. The sky was full of stars, and the air smelled fresh and clean. This was the life Alex had dreamed about. No more rushing in the city, no more noise, just peace. But life is full of surprises, and sometimes, dreams face challenges. A few weeks after moving in, Alex found a letter slipped under the front door. It was from the HOA. Alex opened it with curiosity but soon felt a knot form in the stomach. The letter said that Alex had not paid certain fines, and if these were not paid quickly, there would be consequences. Alex was shocked. How could this be? Alex had just bought the house and had never heard of any fines. The letter mentioned small issues, but nothing seemed serious. Alex called the HOA office to ask for details, but no one answered. Days passed, and more letters came, each one more urgent than the last. Alex felt confused and worried. What were these fines? Why wasn't anyone explaining? Alex tried to talk to neighbors, but no one seemed to know much about the HOA rules. Some said the HOA was strict and sometimes unfair. But Alex never thought the HOA would cause such problems. Despite the worry, Alex didn't lose hope. This was still home. Alex believed the problem could be solved with a simple talk. But as days went by, the letters became more threatening. They said if the fines were not paid, the HOA might take legal action. Alex did not want trouble, only peace. Alex spent many nights awake, thinking about the mountain mansion. The peaceful home now felt like a place of stress and confusion. What if the fines were true? What if the HOA could do something to the house? But Alex was strong and decided to fight for the dream. Alex believed that no matter what, this home deserved respect. It was not just a building, but a place full of hope, love, and hard work. Little did Alex know, this was only the beginning of a much bigger challenge. The mountain mansion, the dream, and the peaceful life were about to change in ways Alex never expected. After the first letter from the Homeowners Association, Alex felt a deep worry. That letter was confusing and upsetting, but Alex hoped it was just a mistake. Maybe the HOA would call back and explain everything clearly. But days passed, and there was no answer. Then, one cold morning, Alex found another letter slipped under the door. This time, the letter was longer and more serious. It said that Alex had not only unpaid fines but also several violations of the community rules. The letter demanded immediate payment, or there would be consequences. Alex sat down and read the letter again and again. What kind of violations? Alex could not remember breaking any rules. Alex loved this place and had worked hard to make sure the house and yard looked nice. Maybe some small things had been missed, but nothing serious. Feeling worried, Alex called the HOA office again. This time, a voice answered. It was a man named Mr. Collins, who said he was part of the HOA board. Alex explained the situation, asked for details about the fines, and asked how they could be fixed. But Mr. Collins was not very helpful. He spoke in a cold, distant way and said the rules were clear and the fines were final. He refused to explain the details and said Alex had to pay immediately. Alex felt frustrated. It seemed like the HOA wanted money but did not want to listen. The conversation ended with Mr. Collins saying, "You better pay soon, or we will take action." Alex looked around the beautiful mountain home and felt a wave of sadness. How could a place so full of peace and happiness become a source of stress? Alex thought, this is not right. I have a right to know what these fines are about. Days passed, and the letters kept coming. Some said the fines had grown bigger with extra fees. Others warned that if the fines were not paid, the HOA could take legal steps to collect the money or punish the homeowner. Alex decided to read the HOA rules carefully. The rules were long and full of small details about colors, lawn care, decorations, and even types of plants allowed. Alex realized that some small things might have caused the fines, like planting flowers in the wrong place or painting a small fence a different shade than allowed. But Alex did not remember being told about these rules before. When buying the house, no one had explained these details. The fines seemed unfair for such small things. Alex talked to a few neighbors, hoping to find someone who could help. One neighbor, Mrs. Green, was kind and listened carefully. HOA rules can be very strict, she said quietly. Sometimes, they don't tell you everything, and if you don't follow the rules exactly, they fine you. It's frustrating, but many of us just try to follow the rules to avoid trouble. Alex thanked Mrs. Green but still felt worried. This was not just about rules. It felt like the HOA was trying to punish Alex without giving a chance to explain. Alex decided to write a letter to the HOA board, asking for a meeting. In the letter, Alex explained the confusion and asked for a chance to fix the problems without paying unfair fines. A week later, there was no reply. The silence was painful. Alex felt like shouting, "Please listen. This is my home." One afternoon, Alex received a call from a woman at the HOA office. She said they had received the letter but that the board had decided to move forward with the fines and penalties. Alex's heart sank. The woman said, "If the fines are not paid by the end of the month, we will take further action. This may include legal steps." Alex felt the weight of those words. The peaceful mountain dream was turning into a nightmare. Alex sat by the window and looked at the tall trees waving in the wind. The house seemed smaller now, less welcoming. But even in the darkness, Alex did not give up hope. There had to be a way to fix this. This house was more than just wood and stone. It was a place of dreams and memories. Alex promised silently to fight for that dream, no matter what. The next days were filled with phone calls, letters, and many sleepless nights. Alex searched for lawyers and community helpers, hoping to find someone who could explain the confusing HOA rules and help stop the fines. Friends from the city called to ask what was happening. They listened and offered support. Alex felt a little less alone. One morning, Alex woke up early and stepped outside. The cold mountain air felt fresh and strong. Alex looked up at the sky and whispered, "I will not let this place go. I will fight for my home." But no one knew how big the fight would become, or how deep the troubles with the HOA really were. The mountain dream was still alive, but the road ahead was uncertain and full of challenges. The mountain air was crisp, but inside Alex's heart, a storm was growing. The letters from the Homeowners Association kept arriving. Each one felt heavier than the last. They said the fines were now larger, with extra fees added. The warnings grew stronger. The words legal action and penalties echoed in Alex's mind. Alex spent many hours reading the HOA rules again and again. The rules were long and full of tiny details that seemed almost impossible to follow perfectly. There were rules about the height of the grass, the colors allowed on fences and walls, the type of flowers in the garden, and even the number of cars allowed in the driveway. Alex remembered planting a few bright flowers in the wrong place. The paint on the fence was a shade darker than the HOA allowed. A small wooden bench sat on the porch without approval. These small things, which Alex thought were beautiful and harmless, were now reasons for big fines. Alex felt a mix of frustration and sadness. How can such small things cause so much trouble? Alex asked out loud, staring at the blue sky. This should be my home, a place for peace, not for fighting. Determined not to give up, Alex wrote a letter to the HOA board, asking for mercy and understanding. Alex explained that the mistakes were honest and small, and promised to fix everything as soon as possible. Alex asked for a meeting to talk face to face and find a solution. Days went by. No answer came. The silence was cold and loud. Then, one afternoon, Alex saw something strange. A truck with big tools and machines arrived near the house. Workers got out, carrying equipment. Alex ran outside, heart pounding. "What are you doing here?" Alex asked the foreman. "We're here on behalf of the HOA," the man said. "We have orders to inspect the property and, if necessary, begin repairs or removal of parts that violate the rules." Alex's eyes widened. "Remove parts? No one told me anything. I didn't agree to this." The workers said they were only following orders. Alex called the HOA office immediately but was put on hold for a long time. When someone finally answered, Alex was told the work was approved by the board and must continue. Alex felt a deep sadness. The peaceful mountain dream was turning into a nightmare. The house, once a symbol of hope and new beginnings, was now under threat. Neighbors gathered nearby, watching the scene quietly. Some whispered, "That's what happens when you don't follow the HOA rules." Others looked at Alex with sympathy but said nothing. Alex returned inside and sat down, feeling overwhelmed. But giving up was not an option. The house was more than wood and nails, it was the heart of a dream built with years of hard work. Alex called a lawyer the next day. The lawyer explained that the HOA had some power to enforce rules but must follow legal processes. Removing or damaging a house without proper notice or court approval was not allowed. This gave Alex hope. Maybe the fight was not lost yet. Alex wrote to the HOA board again, this time with the lawyer's help, demanding a clear explanation and a pause on any demolition or changes to the house until the dispute was resolved. The days that followed were tense. More letters came from the HOA, some threatening, some cold. Alex spent nights awake, worrying about the house and what might happen next. Despite the fear, Alex found strength in the support of friends and neighbors. Some neighbors came to help, offering advice and company. Mrs. Green, the kind neighbor from before, brought homemade cookies and words of encouragement. "You're strong, Alex," she said softly. "This mountain will not let you go easily." Alex smiled weakly, feeling grateful. Slowly, news about the conflict spread in the community. Some people talked about how strict and unfair the HOA had become. Others said the rules were necessary for the neighborhood's beauty and safety. But most agreed that the way the HOA handled the situation was harsh and unclear. Alex knew one thing for sure: the fight was not just about fines or rules. It was about respect, fairness, and the right to feel safe in one's own home. One evening, as the sun set behind the mountains, Alex stood on the porch, watching the sky turn orange and pink. The house stood tall, but the future was uncertain. Alex's mind raced with questions. How far would the HOA go? Could the house survive? Would the dream break or grow stronger? The wind whispered through the trees, as if telling Alex to be brave. Alex took a deep breath and whispered, "I will not give up. This is my home. I will fight for it, no matter what." Days passed, but the tension around Alex's mountain mansion only grew. Every morning, Alex woke up wondering what new trouble the day would bring. The phone rang often, with calls from the lawyer, friends, and some neighbors who wanted to help. Yet, the letters from the Homeowners Association still arrived, cold and threatening. One bright morning, Alex stepped outside early, feeling the cool mountain air on the skin. But instead of peace, there was noise, loud machines and heavy footsteps. Alex's heart stopped. From the edge of the driveway, Alex saw large trucks and workers unloading tools. There were cranes, saws, and other equipment that could tear down parts of a house. A knot formed in Alex's stomach. "What is going on?" Alex asked a worker who was putting on a hard hat. The worker looked at Alex, his face serious. "We are here because the HOA gave the order. Parts of the house need to be removed for rule violations." Alex could hardly believe the words. "Remove parts of my house? But I never agreed to this. No one told me this was happening today." The worker shook his head. "We just follow orders." "Sorry." Alex's voice grew stronger. "You can't do this. This is my home." The neighbors began to come out of their houses. Some looked concerned, others unsure. A few whispered to each other. But no one stepped forward to stop the demolition. Alex ran to the lawyer's office for help, but the phone line was busy. Finally, after many attempts, the lawyer promised to come to the house as soon as possible. Meanwhile, the workers began their work. They cut down a small wooden fence, which Alex had painted with care. They removed a few plants from the garden and started measuring parts of the house walls. Alex stood watching, feeling helpless. The beautiful mountain mansion, once a symbol of hope and joy, was being slowly taken apart. It felt like watching a dream fall to pieces. That evening, Alex sat on the porch, head in hands. The sunset painted the sky with colors, but Alex saw only shadows. Friends and family called to check in, and Alex tried to sound strong, but inside, the fear was growing. How could this happen? Alex thought. Why didn't they talk to me first? Why this harsh action without warning? The next day, the HOA board sent another letter. It explained that the demolition was part of their plan to enforce the rules. They said Alex had broken the agreement signed when buying the house. They wrote that they had the right to take action to protect the community. Alex felt anger rise but also sadness. The people trusted to keep the neighborhood safe were destroying the home without real effort to communicate. Neighbors started talking openly now. Some said the HOA had gone too far. Mrs. Green, who had been kind from the start, came over with warm tea. "I'm sorry this is happening, Alex," she said gently. "I don't understand why they would do this without warning." Alex nodded, grateful for her kindness. "I never imagined a place so peaceful could become so cruel." The community was divided. Some believed in strict rules to keep everything perfect. Others thought the HOA was too harsh and unfair. But everyone agreed that destroying someone's home without fair warning was wrong. Alex began to speak to local reporters. The story of the mountain mansion and the harsh HOA actions started to spread beyond the small community. More people learned about the unfair fines and the demolition. At last, the governor's office became aware of the situation. The irony was strong. Alex, the governor, was fighting a battle at home with the HOA, an organization that reported to the state. Alex called an emergency meeting with the HOA board. This time, no cold letters or ignored calls. The governor's voice was calm but firm. "This house is not just a building," Alex said clearly. "It is a home. You should have come to me before starting demolition. There must be respect and fairness. This cannot continue." The HOA board seemed surprised and hesitant. Some members apologized. They said they followed rules but now realized the situation was more serious. The meeting ended with a promise to stop any further demolition immediately. Repairs would be allowed, and a new process would begin to resolve the fines and misunderstandings. Alex felt relief but knew the fight was not over. The house was damaged, and the trust between the community and the HOA was broken. That night, Alex walked through the house. The small fence was gone, the garden was bare in places, and some walls showed marks from the workers. But the house still stood strong. Alex touched the wooden door and whispered, "This is not the end. We will make this place whole again." The mountain wind seemed to answer with a soft rustle in the trees, like a promise of hope. Though the road ahead was full of challenges, Alex was ready to face them. The mountain mansion was more than wood and stone. It was a dream, a home, and a symbol of courage. And no letter or machine could take that away. After the emergency meeting with the HOA board, Alex thought things might finally get better. The demolition had stopped, and there was hope for peace. But the feeling of confusion and worry still lingered. Alex decided to learn more about the HOA and how it worked. After all, the organization had the power to fine and even damage homes. Was this normal? How could such decisions happen without warning? One afternoon, Alex visited the community office where the HOA kept its records. The small room was filled with files, papers, and some computers. Alex asked to see the rules, the contracts, and any documents related to the mountain mansion. As Alex read through the papers, a surprising fact came out. The HOA was not just a small community group. It was deeply connected to the state government. Many members of the HOA board were appointed by government officials. Some of them reported directly to the state offices. Alex's heart skipped a beat. The very people who had caused so much trouble were linked to the government, the same government Alex led as governor. How could this happen? How could the governor's own home be demolished by an organization tied to the government? Alex sat back, feeling both shocked and confused. It was a strange and bitter irony. The system that was supposed to protect citizens had turned against its own leader. For the first time, Alex understood the true power of the HOA. It was not just about rules and fines. It was about control. The HOA had a strong influence over the community, and sometimes it used that power without kindness or care. Alex thought about the many letters, the harsh words, and the destruction. They were not accidents. They were part of a bigger problem, a system that needed change. That evening, Alex sat in the quiet living room, staring at the mountain view through the window. The sky was clear, but Alex's mind was full of questions. How did it come to this? Why was I never told? How many others have suffered like this? Alex knew that the fight was no longer just about a house. It was about fairness, justice, and standing up for the people in the community. The next morning, Alex called a trusted assistant and asked to arrange a meeting with the HOA board. This time, Alex wanted to speak not as a homeowner but as governor. The meeting was held in the state office, far from the quiet mountain. The HOA board members sat around a large table, looking serious. Some avoided eye contact. Others seemed nervous. Alex took a deep breath and began, I have learned much about the HOA and its power. I have also seen the pain caused by unfair fines and demolition orders. This cannot continue. The room was silent. Alex continued, we need to change how the HOA operates. There must be clear communication, fairness, and respect for every resident no matter who they are. One of the board members spoke quietly, Governor, we follow the rules as they are. We only want to keep the community safe and beautiful. Alex nodded, I understand that. But rules must be fair, and enforcement must be just. We cannot destroy homes without warning or chance to explain. The discussion went on for hours. Alex listened to the board's concerns and explained the need for new policies that protect both the community and the individual. At the end of the meeting, Alex made a promise, I will work to reform the HOA system. This means more transparency, better communication, and respect for all homeowners. No one should fear losing their home without fair process. The board members agreed to work together, but Alex knew the road ahead would be long and difficult. After the meeting, Alex returned to the mountain house. The damage from the partial demolition was still visible, but Alex felt a new strength inside. The fight was not over, but now it was clearer. This house was not just wood and nails. It was a symbol of hope, courage, and the belief that fairness must win. Alex sat on the porch that evening, watching the stars come out one by one. The mountain was quiet, but inside Alex, a new fire burned, a fire of determination and change. No matter how hard the battle, Alex would protect this home and the community. Because every home deserves respect. And every dream deserves a chance. The days that followed the meeting were busy and full of hope. Alex felt a new sense of purpose. The battle was no longer just personal, it was for the entire community. If the HOA could treat even the governor's home unfairly, then what about the other families who lived under its control? Alex began to organize a group of residents who had also faced problems with the HOA. Some had small fines, others had unfair restrictions, and a few had even lost parts of their homes. Together, they wanted to speak up and ask for change. The group met in Alex's mountain mansion living room. Despite the damage from the partial demolition, the house still felt warm and welcoming. Alex looked around at the faces of neighbors, faces filled with hope but also worry. We are not alone anymore, Alex said softly. Together, we can ask for fairness. We can make sure the HOA listens. The neighbors nodded. Some wiped tears quietly, others held hands. It was a moment of unity. Alex contacted reporters again. This time, the story was bigger. It was about the fight for fairness in the community, about standing up to powerful groups, and about the courage of people who refused to be silenced. The news spread quickly. Many people were surprised that the HOA, a group most thought was helpful, could act so harshly. Others felt inspired by Alex and the community's courage. At the same time, the HOA board began to feel pressure. The governor was watching closely, and now the public was paying attention too. The board started to hold meetings where residents could speak, ask questions, and share their concerns. Alex attended every meeting, speaking honestly and calmly. "We want to work with you," Alex said. "But the rules must be clear, the fines fair, and the process just. No one should fear losing their home without a chance to explain." Slowly, the atmosphere began to change. Some board members who had been cold before started to listen. They realized that strict rules alone were not enough, they needed kindness and understanding too. Alex also worked with lawyers to review the fines and rules. Many fines were found to be unfair or based on misunderstandings. The lawyers helped cancel or reduce fines for many residents, including Alex. The mountain mansion was repaired little by little. The fence was rebuilt, the garden replanted, and the walls touched up. Each step was a symbol of hope and new beginnings. One evening, after a long day of meetings, Alex sat on the porch and looked at the stars. The house no longer felt threatened. Instead, it felt alive, full of stories of courage and change. A soft breeze moved the trees, and Alex whispered, "This fight is not just mine. It is for every home, every dream, every family that deserves respect." Neighbors stopped by to visit more often now. They shared stories, laughter, and plans for the future. The mountain mansion was no longer a lonely dream but a center of community. But Alex knew the fight was not over. Changing a system takes time and patience. There would be obstacles and challenges ahead. Still, Alex was ready. Because this home, this dream, was worth fighting for. The cold mountain winds whispered gently through the tall trees as the sun began to rise. For Alex, this morning felt different, lighter and full of hope. After months of struggle, the battle with the Homeowners Association had reached a turning point. The community had come together like never before. Residents had shared their stories, their fears, and their dreams. And slowly, the HOA board had begun to listen. At a special community meeting held in the town hall, the HOA board presented new plans. The harsh fines would be reviewed carefully. Clear rules would be shared openly with everyone. Most importantly, no homeowner would ever face demolition or heavy penalties without fair warning and a chance to explain. Alex stood before the room, surrounded by neighbors, friends, and even some board members. The mountain mansion had become a symbol not just of a fight, but of hope and fairness. "I want to thank everyone for standing together," Alex said, voice steady but full of emotion. "This fight was not easy, but it showed what we can do when we speak up. No home should be threatened without respect and fairness." The crowd applauded warmly. Many faces glowed with relief and pride. For Alex, the mountain home was more than just a house. It was a place of memories, hard work, and dreams that had never given up. The wounds from the partial demolition were healing, just like the community. In the following weeks, repairs continued on the mansion. Neighbors came to help, bringing tools, plants, and laughter. The garden bloomed again with colorful flowers, the fence was rebuilt stronger and brighter, and the house looked more beautiful than before. Alex often sat on the porch in the evenings, watching the stars appear one by one. Sometimes, neighbors joined to share stories or simply enjoy the quiet mountain air. One night, as the moon shone softly, Alex looked up and whispered, "This home was almost lost. But because of courage and unity, it is stronger than ever." The battle with the HOA had taught many lessons. It showed that rules are important, but kindness and fairness matter more. It proved that no one is alone when a community stands together. Alex also felt a deep change inside, a new strength to face challenges and a promise to always protect what was dear. From that day forward, Alex worked with the community to build a better future. Together, they created clearer rules that helped everyone understand and follow them. The HOA became more open and respectful, listening to residents and solving problems with kindness. The mountain mansion, once a place of conflict, was now a beacon of hope, a reminder that even when the hardest storms come, dreams can survive and grow. Alex smiled, knowing the journey was not just about a house, but about standing up for what is right and never giving up. And in the quiet mountains, where the trees whispered stories of courage, Alex's dream lived on, stronger, brighter, and full of promise.